DJ Payne 1.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the CEO Sports Show for September 11th, 2025. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties this morning, but that's all right. We are here live streaming to you guys on YouTube, and we appreciate you guys for showing your support to the page. And yeah, if you guys haven't already, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and yeah, do all the things that would help out the channel. Make sure to leave any thoughts about any takes that I have in the comments section below. I really do enjoy watching, reading over the comments after this thing goes live and seeing where people may agree or disagree. So before we do get into the episode, two things that I want to talk about, not related to sports, but we do have to talk about them. It's obviously September 11th. It's a day in the country that, absolutely is a day that we don't look at with good thoughts, and we remember the fallen from that day. So please make sure to remember the fallen in your prayers. And yesterday, there was obviously what happened with Charlie Kirk. Now, understand this. I'm not making a political stance when I say anything. Just because I'm remembering the death of Charlie Kirk doesn't mean that I'm a Republican. And just because I said what I just said doesn't mean I'm a Democrat. I don't want you guys to know my political stances. It's not something that should be involved in this show. This is a sports show. But at the end of the day, yesterday was a day that we're going to be talking about for a very long time. So, just understand that, that's somebody's son, that's somebody's husband, that's somebody's father. And, unfortunately, what happened yesterday is something that, should never happen to anybody. Political differences should not be something that should cause this much tension. And, very, 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 very sad day yesterday, nonetheless. But hopefully I can cheer you guys up a little bit talking about some sports, or maybe make you guys a little more upset, because sometimes people do that with some of my sports takes, but that's all right. So I want to get into the game on Sunday. I think the biggest game of the week outside of Packers Commanders, just because I don't know how to look at the Chiefs, but I want to get into the Eagles versus the Chiefs game. This is an interesting game to me because I think that these are two teams that last year, obviously, they made the Super Bowl. Obviously, only one of those teams won the Super Bowl. That was the Philadelphia Eagles, and they won that game in dominating fashion. And week one for both of these teams, I walked away a little concerned with both of these teams. It looked like both of these teams looked like teams that were playing deep into the season. They looked like teams that were hanging on by a thread, is what I've been saying over the past week, especially about the Philadelphia Eagles. This is an interesting one. They're playing in Kansas City. Obviously, the Eagles are a much more talented team than the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Kansas City Chiefs do have Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback. And when you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, you always stand a chance, right? But it's interesting here because I'm interested to see how the Eagles are going to work A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith back into the game plan. Do they feel pressured to get those guys back involved in the game for the Eagles? Because that's going to tell me a lot about this Eagles team and a lot about what this Eagles organization is about, right? Are they an organization that when something like this happens where A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith aren't getting the ball, they fall under the pressure and they're just like, all right, let's go get them the football? Or do they stick to their guns and say, no, this is our game plan and this is how we're going to win football games? It's usually been the latter. It's usually been, hey, this is how we're going to win football games. and we don't care what ESPN or Fox Sports 1 is saying about us. This is how we play. This is how we win football games. It's going to be interesting to see. But you have to look at it from AJ and Devontae's perspective. Like, understand this. When it comes to not getting these guys the football, these guys are players that have to reach certain milestones, certain marks, certain goals to not just reach certain incentives in their contract, but to continue to get contracts going into the future, right? Like receivers, yes, they want the ball because at the end of the day, they have to get paid. And what do you get paid off of? Production. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But when I look at this Eagles offensive line, it's still very good. They still have the two tackles who are outstanding. Landon Dickerson is a very good player, but it looks like he's dealing with some injuries. I don't love the two interior players outside of Landon Dickerson with Juergens and Tyler Steen. I think both of those guys, like I think Juergens is a solid center, but I think Tyler Steen is not good like at all. But it's going to be interesting to see, are the Eagles still able to lean on guys with that interior offensive line like they were last year with Dickerson and Mekhi Becton and Juergens? We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens with Saquon Barkley, because I didn't love what I saw from Saquon Barkley, right? And when you're a running back and you reach that 28, 29, 30, like not everybody's Derrick Henry, which is like kind of crazy to think, right? Like Derrick Henry is an athletic freak amongst athletic freaks. That is like wild to me. But like not everybody's Derrick Henry. Is it a swift fall for Saquon Barkley? Because he didn't look like the Saquon Barkley from last season, the one that I saw in week 1. And going into this game, I was told how bad Dallas's run defense was. So are they able to get him going? Is he the same guy that he was last year? I don't think he is, but how far off is he from the guy that he was last year? Like there are a lot of questions going into this game. Like for both teams, to be honest with you. Can Kansas City hold up in pass protection against this Eagles defensive front? Because we saw in the Super Bowl, they were not able to hold up in pass protection against this Eagles front. I think that when you look at the Super Bowl from the Kansas City Chiefs and their game plan, I think they're going to do things a lot differently, right? And look, got to give Jalen Hurts the credit. He plays well against Steve Spagnuolo. A lot of quarterbacks struggle against Steve Spagnuolo. Jalen Hurts does not. So you got to give him credit there. But it's going to be very interesting to see how much different the game plan is from the Super Bowl on both sides of the ball from the Kansas City Chiefs, because whatever that game plan was, they needed to throw it out because it was not good. But also, like, I don't think that this is going to be what the Super Bowl was. I don't think the Eagles are going to blow that team out. I don't see it. So when I look at this, it's so, I think this is very hard to predict because I know who the more talented team is. I know who the better team is. The better team and the more talented team is Philadelphia Eagles. But you still have Patrick Mahomes, still have Andy Reid, still have Steve Spagnuolo. And that's where I go back to and I say, I don't know how confident I am picking against them, but it's not going to feel good, but I'm going to pick against them. I'm going to pick the Eagles to win this game. I think the Eagles win a close one. I got it 21-17. I think the Eagles are going to do enough to win this game because they're a team that they travel well. The Eagles travel very well. They have a run game, even though I am a bit skeptical. Like, how good is Saquon Barkley? I still believe he's a very solid back. But how much, like, did he fall off from last season and how big is the fall off? Because he had a lot of carries last year. Oh, like, I think he had like 435, I think is the number when you include the regular season and the postseason. It's a lot of carries. And he is a superhuman, no doubt about it. But I didn't love what I saw from that Dallas game. And Dallas is supposed to be a team that they struggle to play run defense. And Saquon Barkley really couldn't get anything going on the ground. So I just wonder is all. I do think the Eagles win this game. I think they win a close one, 21-17. Let's move on to some of the other games that we have. Two games to me that really, really piqued my interest. And people are going to be like, well, why those two games? It's the Steelers and the Seahawks, and it's the Bills and the Jets. That Jets and Steelers game was so interesting to me. I have more questions in a good way about the Jets and the Steelers than I did coming into those games. Like, I looked at the Jets and I said, they're one of the worst teams in football. But then my mindset changed about the Jets because I saw how well Justin Fields played, and I saw how well offensively they played. And they have this new coach, Aaron Glenn, and they're doing things from a culture standpoint that makes you say, this is not the same old Jets. And I give them credit. They played very well last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the Pittsburgh Steelers offensively played very well. I didn't expect them to play that well offensively. And here's the main question that I have, and why both of these games to me are extremely interesting, because the Steelers defense that we saw last week, is that the Steelers defense that we're going to see going forward? I don't believe it is. I think the Steelers defense is a lot better than we saw last Sunday. But, you know, the question is the offense that we saw from the Pittsburgh Steelers, are we going to continue to see that? Because Seattle, that's a tough team to play. They're a very well-coached defensive football team. Mike McDonald over there. So that's why this game is so damn interesting to me. Can Pittsburgh continue to show the good things on offense that they showed last week? Can Rodgers be as efficient as he was last week? Can this offensive line play better than they did last week? Giving up 4 sacks, that's not good. And when you got a guy like Aaron Rodgers, to me, that's a guy that gets the ball out of his hands. That's a guy who pre-snap is extremely decisive. He's not a guy that's going to take bad sacks. Now, the Jets-Bills game, it's interesting to me because how much better are the Jets than I thought going into this season? And is that a team that can give the Bills a little bit of a hard time here? That to me is very interesting. I think that the Bills are going to win that game, no doubt about it. But how close is that game? Because I think that the Jets right now, like just after week 1, and again, these are all, maybe this is overreaction, but I think that the Jets are the second best team in the division. I think they're the second best team in the NFC, or I'm sorry, in the AFC East. Like, I was not impressed by what I saw from the Patriots. And I wasn't like going into the season, I was very high on Drake May, but I wasn't one of these guys that was like definitively, no doubt about it, they're going to be the second best team in the division. I looked at the Patriots and I said, hey, look, if you feel good about your quarterback and your head coach coming out of the season, you feel great. But I was a bit disappointed by what I saw from the Patriots week 1. So can the Jets take that spot as the second best team in the division? After what I saw from week 1, they might be able to. So, you know, obviously Josh Allen, he had that tremendous game week 1. You know, 394 yards and 2 touchdowns, came back from 15 in the fourth quarter to win that game. It's going to be interesting. I think the Bills win that game. But I think that the Jets are going to keep that game close because I'm very interested to see what the hell is going on with this Jets offense. And if that Jets offense can continue doing the things that they did week 1 against the Steelers defense. And the Steelers-Seattle game to me is very interesting because Seattle's going to give them a test defensively because of how well coached they are. So, you know, what I'm looking for from Pittsburgh is, can Rodgers keep up the level of play that we saw week 1? And not only can he keep up the level of play that we saw week 1, can they establish a run game? Can they do a better job in pass protection? And the reason why, another reason why these games are so interesting is because when you look at the back half of the AFC, this is not a conference that has great depth. It's not the NFC where you have, you know, 8 or 9 teams that can make the playoffs. It's not that at all. It's the Bills, it's the Ravens, it's the Chiefs. And whoever wins, it looks like the Texans are like going to be that 4th seed going forward for the next couple of years because the AFC South it's a mess. It's not a very good division. You know, so That's where I look at that and I say, but the top three teams, like the three teams that people don't want to deal with, are those three teams. Then it's kind of a crapshoot from there. Like you have the Texans, maybe the Jaguars can make a play in that division. Maybe the Colts can make a play in that division. But then when you look at this wild card picture, Chargers, Broncos, Steelers, Bengals, like you start to look around and it's like the depth of the conference is just, it's not that good. So that's why, to me, that game is so damn interesting, because I want to see with the Steelers and the Jets, can they be those teams that are the wild card teams? Can they establish themselves as those type of teams? We'll have to wait and see. There were some good signs week one from both of those teams. So I want to move on to the game that we have tonight with the Green Bay Packers. I broke down the game yesterday. I have the Packers winning 31-17, but I'm not 100% sold on the Green Bay Packers. I'm just not. And the reason why I'm not sold on them is because of Jordan Love. I cannot trust a quarterback like that. He is so damn inconsistent. I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with a quarterback that's as inconsistent as Jordan Love. Do the Packers have some really good things about their football team? Absolutely. They have a fantastic head coach. I think Jordan Love's a good quarterback, but even though I think he's a good quarterback, I don't believe all good quarterbacks can win Super Bowls. I think that when you have the inconsistency that Jordan Love has, that's a big problem to me. Like, they have Josh Jacobs, but again, it's like the older running back scares me because, yeah, they might look good week one. Two things that scare me: older running backs and speed pass rushers. Because when you have these speedy pass rushers, they may get worn down over the course of a season if teams are running at them and being physical with them. Like, come playoff time, you start to see like, oh, these things start to wear down a little bit. You're not rushing the passer with as much speed because your legs aren't as fresh as they were early in the season. If you're a running back, you're not running the ball as effectively as you are at the beginning of the season because you're getting that wear and tear. So, like, when I look at the Green Bay Packers, three of their best players, I wonder deep into the season, are they going to be able to play the level of football that we saw week one? Like, Jordan Love, to me, like I said, he's too inconsistent for me to think that over a 4-game stretch where you're playing the best teams in the league, the best defenses in the league, the best defensive coordinators, the best coaching staffs, do I think he has the consistency to be able to play at a high level, knowing that you are playing what I just said, the best teams in the league, the best coaches in the league? Do I think that Josh Jacobs can play at the level deep into the season that we see early in the season? And can Micah Parsons play at the level that we see early in the season, late into the season? I question all of those things with them. Because, look, I get it. Micah Parsons looked great week one. It's not the first time. Not the first time Micah Parsons has looked great week one. And then as the season goes along, teams start running the ball at him. Yes, he is fine in run defense, but he starts to wear down. The pass rushes, they don't look as great as they do at the beginning of the season because of the speed that he plays with, because of the twitchiness, because of the quickness. That stuff starts to wear down over the course of a season. When you get the wear and tear, when you get teams leaning on you game in and game out, I worry about that with the Packers. It's a lot of flash that they have on this team, but I don't know if that flash is going to be able to carry them throughout the playoffs. But like right now, if you were to ask me, they look like they're one of the best teams in the NFC. Like, I think they look like the best team in their division, no doubt about it. Like, that week one performance against the Lions, it was impressive. I just wonder, is that a team that they're just a team that's really good in September and October, and they kind of fall off towards the end of the season like we saw last year? Or are they a team like 2 years ago, they played their best football late into the season? I don't know. I don't have a good gauge on this football team because of the quarterback play. That's like the main thing to me that I look at and I say, I'm a bit worried about that. Looking at this team, because 2 years ago, Jordan Love played good football at the end of the season. Last year, like the Green Bay Packers, they were 1-5 in their own division. Like that's crazy. And I get it. I think they lost. I think they were 12-5 last year, or 11-6. Let me look up their record for 2024. They were 11-6 last year. They were 1-5 in their own division. And in their own division, they had a team, Lions, 15-2, Vikings, 14-3. So that's why I wonder. I really wonder with that team. Like, do they beat the good? Like, are they a team like the 2023 Cowboys where they were beating up on bad teams? So people looked at them and they said, all right, they're a lot better than what they are. But in actuality, they're actually not as good as we think. They were just beating up on bad teams. And I really wonder with that with the Packers. They looked good week 1, but I'm not 100% sold on this team. Because I'm going to continue to say it. I'm not sold on their quarterback, and the positions that they have that are the best on their team. Usually those positions start to wear out. Every position does, but those positions more than anybody else. So I'm interested to see what happens here with the Packers going forward. Before we get into the last segment of the show, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Make sure to go check out the Stadium Pulse, the Mic Drop, all the other pages that we have on this network. It would be much appreciated. Network's going good. Good first month that we just had. We're in the first week of month 2, and we're just very gracious, and thank you for everybody supporting the page. The engagement and everything that goes into it, it does not go unnoticed. Okay, let's move on to our last topic of the day. And that is, I want to talk about Arch Manning a little bit, because it's funny, going into the season, the perception of Arch Manning was one thing, right? A lot of people looked at him as one of the best quarterbacks in the country, one of the best players in the country. I mean, I saw Joel Klatt put him as the 4th best player in the country going into the season, which was just ridiculous because he didn't play. He wasn't a starter. He wasn't a full-time starter last year. And you're putting him over guys like Garrett Nussmeier and players like that, and quarterbacks like John Mater and Levitt from Arizona State, and other quarterbacks who have been full-time starters. But when you look at Arch Manning, now the perception is he's a bad quarterback. Texas needs to move on. They're not going to do anything with Arch Manning. When I think the opinion should be, hey, he is a first-year starting quarterback. He's going to be fine. Yeah, he might not be the Andrew Luck that some people hyped him up to be. My question is this: why'd you hype him up to be the next Andrew Luck? He is a quarterback that plays for Texas that is developing. Let him develop as a starter. I think he's going to be a good player. People overblew it with saying that he was going to save NFL franchises as early as next season. It was never going to happen. When you watch the tape from last year with Arch Manning, he showed some good things. But did I watch his tape and say, wow, this guy is Andrew Luck? This guy's a can't-miss prospect? Absolutely not. I looked at him and I said, hey, some of the timing things he needs to work on. Some of the anticipatory things he needs to work on. His footwork he needs to work on. But there was obviously raw talent there. I love what he can do with his legs. I think he has a good arm. He could throw the ball deep. He could do some things well. But let's let the other things in his game develop. And I just feel like now the opinion was one way. Now it's the complete other way. When the opinion should be somewhere in the middle. He's a quarterback that has potential, that hasn't lived up to the potential yet because he hasn't really had that much of a chance to live up to the potential. It's okay to have questions about Arch Manning, but to say that this guy is just a 3-star recruit with the Manning last name, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that. You don't go to Texas. You don't play for the University of Texas if you are just a 3-star recruit. Coaches can see right through that. They wouldn't have started Arch Manning this year if they didn't see in practice for now, 2 years, 3 years now, pretty much, that this guy could play football. He's practicing against some of the best players in the country. Texas recruits at an extremely high level. They are one of the best programs in the country when it comes to talent acquisition. And if they saw that in practice that this guy couldn't play, he wouldn't be starting for Texas. Doesn't matter what his last name is. He wouldn't be starting. So I'm willing to believe that he's probably a good quarterback, not as good as people hyped him up to be, but he needs time to develop. I told people going into the season, this Texas team is not as good as people think they are. They were not as good as people thought they were coming into the season. I thought it was lazy to rank them as the number 1 team in the country. They were so clearly not that. So when Arch Manning doesn't perform to the level that people expected him to perform at, they're like, oh, well, what's wrong with Arch Manning? Maybe your opinion about him going into the season was wrong. Maybe your opinion about this roster going into the season was wrong. They replaced 4 starting offensive linemen. They didn't have a starting receiver that you looked at and said, wow, that's a first-round pick. They had to make some changes with their running back room. Baxter was coming back from an injury. There really wasn't much that you felt that if you honestly assessed the roster that you felt amazing about coming into the season. You felt great about their defense. It's a defense that is very good, that did return starters from last year. But when you looked at the offense, I don't know how anybody could objectively look at this offense and say, wow, there is no excuse for Arch Manning. I didn't look at this offense like that. Like, we have to stop looking at, oh, this guy is a 5-star recruit. He's a 4-star recruit. Coming into college and saying, oh, well, he's automatically going to develop year 2. It's not always the case. Some of these guys take more time than others. So it sounds like I'm defending Arch Manning. I'm not really trying to defend him. I'm trying to make sure that the conversation becomes more accurate, which is, again, he is a quarterback that needs to develop. He's not ready for the big stage yet. But I never thought Texas was ready for the big stage this year. I didn't think there was any way they were going to win a national championship this year, unless Arch Manning was as good as people thought he was going to be. But I didn't think that was going to be the case. It was never hate. It was never me not liking Texas or Arch Manning. I mean, like my favorite team's Ohio State. But outside of Ohio State, like, yeah, I root for Texas. Like, I want Texas to do good. College football is better when Texas is great. But I'm not going to force it like some media members out there, Paul Feinman. The team wasn't as good as we thought they were coming into the season. Arch Manning wasn't as good as we thought he was coming into the season. Texas has had 2 back-to-back seasons where they were in the college football playoffs. The program is back in relevance, but they lost a lot of talent to the NFL draft. And there were a lot of people out there that thought that they were just going to snap their fingers and replace that talent. Was never going to be the case. I said next year is going to be Texas's year. It's not this year. They don't have the established talent on their roster. But when you look at next year, I think Arch will be better next year. You still have Colin Simmons there. You have Wingo. You have the offensive line that will hopefully not have to start 4 new players this year. When you do your research on the roster and actually look at the roster going into the season, it wasn't as good as people thought it was. And that's why I picked Ohio State in the game. It's not because I was a fan of the team. I mean, I was right in my prediction. I picked Ohio State to beat Texas because I did a deep dive on the team and I said, I don't like what I see. And it gives me concern as an Ohio State fan. Wow, we only beat Texas by 7 points. Arch Manning didn't look that impressive on Saturday against San Jose State. But again, he's a young quarterback. Let's give it time. Like quarterbacks, like we're seeing this with Caleb Williams right now in the NFL. Relax. Like Arch Manning isn't coming out this year. He's not going into the NFL draft this year. That's not going to be the case. So if you readjust your expectations, like I didn't have to readjust my expectations because I knew what Arch Manning was coming into the season because I watched the tape of him and I didn't pay attention to the last name. I didn't pay attention to what the draft analysts were saying, which, by the way, shame on them for putting Arch Manning, a guy who was never a starter over the course of the season, looking at him as a more touted prospect over quarterbacks who actually played and started, like Garrett Nussmeier, like Cade Klubnik, like Lenore Sowers. Those guys deserved more credit coming into the season. And I don't feel like they got that because everybody was wrapped up in the Arch Manning hype. That's going to be it for the show, guys. I appreciate you guys for coming out. Hopefully I was able to provide the entertainment that you needed after, on a heavy-hearted day like today. And, after everything that happened yesterday. I would greatly appreciate you guys hit that like button. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. How off am I with my takes? I always love hearing your opinions, whether it be good or bad. Just make sure that you attack the opinion and not the opinionist. I don't know the proper definition or the proper wording for what I'm trying to say. But make sure to go check out the other pages. Make sure to go check out the Mic Drop with Benjamin Garcia. Make sure to go check out the Stadium Pulse with Tegan Randolph. But that's it for me. Until next time, I will see you guys later.